when we start to have female hormone imbalances, right, we can look at your hormones in a couple different ways. We can look at your adrenals, which are primarily on a circadian rhythm. They kind of cycle throughout the day based on cortisol. So more light, cortisol goes up in the morning. As the sun goes down, cortisol goes down. So it's on a light and dark circadian pattern. So that's our cortisol. Our adrenals also make DHEA and precursor sex hormones from that DHEA. So that's important because the more adrenal stress we have, the less ability we have to buffer our sex hormones through our adrenal glands. That's very important. Also, when we look at our female hormones, right, we have the first half of the cycle, follicular. That's primarily where estrogen's made between day 9 and 13. And then progesterone follows up around day 15. And the last half of the cycle, the luteal phase, is where progesterone predominates. Now, we start to have a lot of PMS issues when we start to either have fluctuations in estrogen or estrogen starts to go too high and or progesterone starts to drop. Especially in the luteal phase, you can see progesterone drop out early. Now, why would progesterone drop out early? Progesterone is also a precursor building block to cortisol. Or I should say, yes, it's a precursor building block to cortisol. So if you look at the different steroid hormone pathways, it goes pregnenolone, 17-hydroxyprogesterone, progesterone, then it goes cortisol. So why is this important? Well, if you're stressed and you're making cortisol to buffer that stress, remember, cortisol is an anti-inflammatory hormone. And so if you're dealing with stress, you may be pumping out this cortisol to deal with the stress and inflammation, and your body may be shunting progesterone downstream to help deal with the cortisol reserve. So it's like chopping up parts of your house to build a fire because you're cold, right? Because you made the decision that it's more important that we burn it than use it to be part of the house. Well, the body's making a decision because the body's almost always hardwired to deal with stress now versus long-term healing and down the road. The body is all about survival in the moment, not about long-term. And so the body will sacrifice hormones like progesterone, right? Progesterone is a progestational hormone needed for fertility. Very important. The corpus luteum makes it when you start to get pregnant, and you get HCG that also perpetuates that as well. So progesterone is a progestational hormone. So the body doesn't care about getting pregnant and being fertile and having kids when you're stressed because, hey, that's not time. So it's trying to short in reserve. It's like, hey, if you're used to going out to eat once a week and having some amenities and getting a massage, well, that's gone now because you lost your job, maybe money's tight. So you're just like you would pull back on the extra things. Your body looks at having kids and all that extra energy that goes into growing a baby as an extra thing. So progesterone will get depleted to deal with the stress hormones. Also, progesterone is really important. Guess what? For energy, for mood. It helps open up the GABA chloride channels in the brain. So relaxation, down regulating and downshifting from stress. So very important. Also, when you start to get chronically stressed, you start to have circadian rhythm problems. So like I mentioned earlier with that circadian rhythm of higher cortisol in the morning, lower at night, guess what starts to happen?